Okay, what's up, people? Welcome back to another stream. Hope everyone is doing well. As always, guys, if you're enjoying the content, please be sure to drop a like, subscribe to the channel, and of course, make sure you do go and hit the bell so you don't miss out on any streams or uploads in the future. Make sure you do check out the Discord channel to Elevating Traders. The link to that is in the description below. You can also find it at the top of the chat. You can join discussion with other traders, with myself. I share some ideas there, so can you. If you're looking to join a community, share ideas, see what other people are looking to trade, you can find that out in the description with the link to the Discord, of course. But guys, welcome back to another stream. Hope everyone is well. What's up, Sammy FX in Uganda watching you? Big up to yourself. What is up? Welcome to the stream. Hope you are well. But as always, guys, we'll go through a bunch of markets today. Any requests, drop it down in the chat and we'll eventually take a look. First, though, I'll go through the USD side of things first, see what's happening in that kind of world. We'll go through the DXY, USD majors, gold, silver. Of course, any requests or any particular time frames you want me to take a look at, let me know, drop it in the chat, and of course, we will get to it. But first thing is first. As always, we've got the dollar. So with the DXY, I am very intrigued by the price action because we were quite bullish yesterday. Well, not so much yesterday, more so kind of overnight. Of course, we kind of got a bit of a gap here. If I take a look at it on a different market, oh, it's still a gap there as well. Okay, interesting. But yeah, we have seen a pretty bullish dollar. It has retraced most of that since price has pushed higher. But overall, we have broken through structure here, which is the one thing I didn't want price to do as a bear. Now, I would still say I'm pretty bearish. I still think the bigger move is still back to the lows here. That's still my expectation for USD, but I'm not a fan of us taking out the highs here. It does look like resistance is being respected and we could still potentially see that decline, but the breaker structure does lower the probability of the setup. Like I said, I still am bearish. We're still respecting some really nice structure here around 100.4. Really nice resistance, support there as well. Perhaps it could give us the continuation, but the breaker structure does make things awkward. And that's always a theme with trading. The setup's not always perfect. Sometimes you will get some setups that are borderline perfect, but there's always something you can potentially spot which you don't like about a setup. But I have to admit, it's a nice rejection of the level. Perhaps if we can maintain that, I do think we can see the push. A nice double top could be a really nice entry signal, perhaps on like a euro or a pound. But I still am bearish because I'm basically looking for the continuation of this bearish trend. There's no signs of bullish life coming to the market. I know we've had that rally and it's taking out the highs there, but it's not a significant break of structure, which is the key thing I'm trying to get at. It's not a significant break of structure, so it doesn't lead me to believe, okay, now I'm expecting a very bullish USD. It might be the start of something if I see development and continuation to the upside, so higher highs and higher lows. Well, yeah, I'll probably will start to change my tune there and become bullish there on the dollar. As we haven't had that developed bullish structure yet, I would still be looking at a push down. Perhaps we might have just been faking out some highs, grabbing some liquidity to potentially continue. So I'm still bearish on the dollar, although it has lowered the probability of the setup. I would have liked to see price kind of respect that area of supply there, but as we can see, it did not. So we're going to see what price does in reference to this level, 100.5 we'll call it. If we can stay below, I think the shorts still look good. If we start breaking above that and see some higher lows, I think I'll pause that bearish bias for USD completely and probably even become bullish at that point. If we take a look at Euro USD, with this one, same sort of situation. We did break to the downside, take out these lows here as well. So again, not really what I wanted to see as a bull for Euro. Kind of respecting this level here, but again, I'm not a big fan of the breaker structure. So with Euro USD, again, I still do have that bullish bias, but I just don't see a clear-cut setup here. So I mean, I was never really looking to trade euro this week, but if I was, now that we've got the break of structure, I would pause in that bias. Again, from a higher time frame perspective, that's where the momentum lies to the upside. So naturally, I still do think price can push on, but in terms of the setup, in terms of finding entries, which of course is the most important thing, I'm not seeing any clear-cut opportunity. So I would stay away from euro. Other USD pairs look a lot better, which we'll get to in a moment. But euro with the break of structure there does lower the probability of the setup. And again, if we start to see some continuation to the downside, so some lower lows and lower highs, well, again, that would put me pretty bearish on the market. We'd be looking for a break and retest of structure, a swing back into these lows, and maybe further as well. So that would make me pretty bearish with Euro USD. I'm not quite bearish yet because I want to see that development with that bearish structure. But until then, we'll see how things get going. Like I said, I'm still bullish, but I don't see a clear-cut opportunity to actually buy this one. I know we're kind of respecting some structure to our left there, but I'm not quite a fan just yet. Not quite a fan. Pound USD, on the other hand, looks a lot better. Pound USD, I like this one a lot better. Price had a really nice rally to the upside. Of course, that was from last week. We have cleared major resistance on the daily/weekly chart. So we've made great progression past this point here. And we've just about come back for a retest, which is basically the setup which we're describing coming into the week for pound. We've seen a really nice break above this level from last week's candle. And now we're coming back to retest that same zone. So as long as we can stay above this area, use it as support, I do think this is a great place to be looking for longs and continuing that pound USD trend to the upside. If price, of course, was to close back below this week, that would be a big red flag for the buyers. And we could probably anticipate this to be a bit of a fake out for more downside. So we don't want to see price close back below. That's if, of course, you're looking to buy pound USD. And so far, we're not getting that. You can see prices resting very, very nicely on this level. So I like the buys for pound USD. Euro looks like we've kind of broken structure, so it looks quite awkward right now. Pound USD looks like the much better opportunity. I think in terms of entries, a nice double bottom would be nice for some entries. And then targets, keeping it relatively simple, a swing back to the highs. We've been very consistent with these higher lows. I would just be looking for the next swing to the upside now. So pound USD, still pretty bullish on this one. Expecting more upside for pound. We're still respecting 1.34. So as long as we stay above that, it keeps me bullish, keeps me expecting more upside for pound USD at this point. If we do break through, like I said, I'll put that bias to a pause. Not necessarily flip the bias yet. I want to see how we close on the week. But as long as we remain above 1.34, very bullish. I think a nice double bottom would be a great entry signal, and targets back to the swing high makes a load of sense. Dollar CAD, something I'm still keeping a very close eye on. I'm still pretty bearish on the dollar CAD. So despite the USD strength, and despite USD CAD strength as well, dollar CAD's been on a pretty nice swing to the upside there. I'm still looking to short this one, but I must admit price action isn't looking spectacular. I'm not the biggest fan of how we've retraced. It's quite aggressive, almost like a V-shaped pattern here, which again more resembles reversal rather than continuation. So not the big fan of that. I'm kind of waiting for a bit more development for price to kind of slow down a little bit more, and then hopefully get the short at some point in time, maybe next week at this point. But I'm still very, very bearish on dollar CAD. Look to the higher time frames. There's a massive area of kind of demand just below us here. We had that brief consolidation, that massive double bottom, and price rally to the upside from that exact same point. I do expect us to come back and revisit that area. We had a very sharp breakout, no retest. This will be the first time price is coming back to that area. I would expect price to be attracted towards that area as well. And of course, currently on the daily chart, we still do have bearish structure, high, low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low. So as long as this bearish structure maintains, I do think we just naturally end up back at that 1.36 zone. So I do think dollar CAD's likely to keep falling. Now I'm just looking for a good trade to get involved. Like I said, the retracement here has been very aggressive, almost like a V-shaped pattern, which again is not something I want to be shorting, something I want to be very cautious of. As I said yesterday, there's two zones I'm looking at, this area here being 1 and this area here being 2. So at the moment, this area is not looking too good. We'll see how things shape. Maybe it does look good. In a couple of days or so, we'll have to wait and see. But so far, I wouldn't be looking to jump into any shorts. If we kind of slow down, become a bit more corrective, and I see something that I like, then it's probably the second zone where I actually do end up getting some entries to take it back down. Again, as long as dollar CAD doesn't break through this swing high here, I stay bearish and I stay looking for shorts back to 1.36. So as long as price stays below that, I stay bearish. And at the moment, price is below that, so I'm only looking to short the pair. But I have to admit, price action ain't looking that good. So I think I probably will be ending up looking and focusing more at 1.392, this second zone here. So we'll see how that develops over the next couple of days. But dollar CAD looks like a good short, but it's not ready yet. I wouldn't be jumping into sales just yet. Aussie dollar. So this one, I am still pretty bullish longer term. Can I spell? No, I can't. There we go. I'm still very bullish longer term. I do think we can see a massive move to the upside for Aussie dollar, but again, I'm not a big fan of this ascending channel. Market's very, very corrective here, and we'll kind of just, back and forth, and I'm not interested in finding any opportunities within this range. This is not really an area which I want to operate in. I want price to push down against me, find some entries around 0.625, and that's where I want to try and pick up some longs. I think from a swing perspective, that would be a great place where you can hopefully find a trade and hold back to highs. So the risk reward and the opportunity looks very, very good. And it's kind of well out the way of the noise, because inside this channel here is where all the noise is for Aussie dollar. There'll be a lot of people getting chopped up, buying and selling and trying to catch some moves within this confined space, and that just would be a disaster to try and get involved there. Again, not to say you can't get a winning trade inside here, you definitely can, but you can definitely find some losing trades there very, very easily. I want to be away from the noise, where the value is, and then take trades from there. And something around here, 0.625 would do the job for me. So still waiting for this big inverse head and shoulder pattern to play out. Not too sure if we will ever get there, but I'm just going to wait and see. Again, I've got multiple markets which I'm monitoring. With Aussie dollar, it's just a waiting game. Yeah, so that's basically the update. Just more kind of sideways price action. Not interested in that vicinity until we do break lower and come to some more appropriate areas for a big buy. Ends the USD. Not much to speak about with this one, I suppose. Overall, still very, very flat. Similar to Aussie dollar, I do think there's a big move to the upside to be had. I talked about the break of resistance here. If we can get that, I think that would be a fantastic place to look for a break and retest of. So if you can see price clear the resistance there, some pullbacks, I think naturally that would be a great place for a buy. And I do think the lows here will be a great place for a buy as well. 0.58500, we'll call that. We've got some really nice resistance, which will, of course, will be turned support just below us. And I would be looking for a big double bottom here, in the expectation that all this momentum is likely going to continue. And this is kind of like a big correction, if you will. And we're just going to see the continuation. And if I can find some longs there, that'll be a great place to find some entries and look for the bigger move. But of course, if that doesn't happen, I still like the idea of the break and retest at the highs as well. 0.60250. So ends the USD still bullish, Aussie dollar still bullish, dollar CAD still bearish, pound USD still bullish, euro I'm kind of mixed bag with euro, but my bias is still favoring USD weakness for now. It's just we had that bigger pullback on the DXY, which has made things a bit awkward, but it wasn't a significant move. It hasn't broken any major structure yet, so I am still looking for that dollar weakness. Gold, on the other hand, I'm pretty bearish on actually, and we have seen more downside. Like I said, we respected the channel there at the start of the week. That made me bearish. I said the bias for gold is pretty simple, to be honest. Well, in reference to the channel, If price can break out the channel, I'm bullish. If price rejects the channel, I'm bearish. And that's what we got on Monday there. Nice shift in momentum. And the market's been slowly pushing down. It hasn't really done anything too crazy, I must admit. But again, as long as we maintain the high of the channel there, I do think we can end up back at support, which is 31.40, we'll call it. Again, the only way I look to change that bias is if we do start to break out of this. Then, of course, I'll be bullish again and then naturally targets back to the high. But at the moment, not looking likely. And I think even from an intraday point of view for gold, there's probably some sales to be looking at as price comes back into some structure there. Might be a nice short for another lower high. We've got 1, 2, 3, perhaps could see a fourth, and that can continue that trend there. So yeah, gold looking pretty bearish, more downside as long as we can maintain the top of the channel, which so far we're doing. I think 31.40 is a likely target for gold. Silver, on the other hand, I'm sure still sideways. Yeah, still sideways for silver, so not much of an update, to be honest, in regards to silver. Just still kind of trading within this box here. Again, long term, still very bullish on the pair. I do think we're still likely to go and break through highs here at 34.8, 35, we'll just call it. I still think we're likely to eventually break through the highs there, but I'm just not willing to be buying at any of these levels, to be honest. We're trading within a range here. Price is coming to some big areas of supply to the left. This is where we had a brief range and price dumped to the downside very aggressively. So naturally, don't really want to be buying at these prices. And yeah, I mean, if anything, could wait for a push back to the low end of the range and try and take some buys off the low. That would make a lot more sense. Perhaps some sells at the highs, but I kind of want to be focused on the buys there for silver. So not too interested, but yeah, not much of an update for silver. I'm not seeing a clear-cut opportunity there. So for the time being, not really paying too much attention until I see some momentum, until price can kind of break out, and then hopefully can find some opportunities shortly afterwards. But for now, I will leave it alone. Anyway, welcome to the stream, people. Hope everyone is well. Dima, what is up? Welcome, welcome. Follow the trend. Hope you are well. Breakout and continuation on GJ. Interestingly, it looks like that could be the case. GJ is looking pretty bullish. I mean, the yen had a bit of a meltdown overnight. So the yen's been looking pretty weak. GJ, I think pound's been quite strong as well. So that was a big kind of contrast between the two currencies. And pound yen's been a lovely move to the upside. So yeah, we'll go through pound yen. I'll go through the yen pairs as a whole, to be honest. Tashi, good morning. Hope you're well. CAD yen, of course. CAD seat chef, of course. We'll take a look. Opamipo, hope you're well. Good morning. Good morning. What's your thoughts on UJ and gold? Well, we just went through gold. Gold looks pretty bearish. I think more downside is your best bet. UJ will go through shortly. CS Integrated, good morning, my man. Hope you're well. Ahmed, good morning. Welcome to the stream. Hope you're doing good. We'll start with GJ. So yeah, pound yen looking very bullish. Of course, the yen weakness had a lot to do with that, but pound has, in fairness, been quite strong as well. But yeah, it's been a nice move to the upside for pound. I was talking about possibly a retest of some structure down here. Not gonna lie, I was not quite convinced. I did say on stream yesterday that although this looks like a great place for a buy, 194, it did look like support was holding very well here. So yeah, I doubted price was going to get there. We had a really nice rally since then as well. And I think we've just smacked our heads into resistance, more or less, yeah. So what's the next move here for pound yen? Well, it's still a very corrective pair. It's not the best price action in the world. I mean, I wouldn't debate people who would probably just box that off and just map that to consolidation, to be honest, and kind of just leave price to do its thing within this. I think if I was being quite strict, I probably would just call pound yen a consolidation. I mean, it technically is, to be honest. So the price action isn't great. But I've been bullish for pound yen since we did break structure here. We just about cleared the highs. Again, I'm quite disciplined with my break of structures. If we do close above a high, yeah, I do consider that to be a break of structure, even if it's minimal. Of course, if it's a big breakout, that's a more significant break of structure. So the likelihood of that continuing is a lot higher than a minuscule break of structure, but a break of structure is still a break of structure to me. So I've been pretty bullish since the close there. And of course, we had some 4-hour bullish structure, which price has been trading within for a while. We formed a really nice high low that goes back from last week, and prices continue back into resistance. So next move for pound yen, I'm not too sure, to be honest. I kind of want to get a bit more information before I do judge where price can go. I mean, I would still be bullish, so I would still be expecting continuations past this high here. We do, of course, have major resistance to our left. What's this? 198.7, 199.5. So we still do have major resistance above us, and I think price naturally probably still be attracted towards those levels. This bullish structure seems to be in still good shape. For me to be bearish on pound yen, I want to see a strong rejection at the high and price go and take out the low here. That would, that would really make things like a big consolidation at that point, but that wouldn't make me bullish anymore. So that's the only way I kind of at least put to one side my bullish bias, at least become neutral, if anything. But yeah, for now, I am pretty bullish on pound yen still. I'm not really seeing an opportunity to buy the market because, of course, we just smashed into resistance. So I would refrain from that. I think maybe if you're very intraday, like on the 15, I do like this level here. I think that could be a nice buy. But in terms of targets, you're probably looking at just a retest for a swing back to high. This is still major resistance. You don't necessarily want to try and hold past that. I mean, you can, but I would advise on maybe securing some partials or at least managing the trade, in some fashion. But I think buys still look good. 50-minute bullish structure still relatively healthy. Still seeing really nice momentum. I think anywhere within this kind of area, I think that's a smart place for a buy, to be honest, for pound yen on the 15. And push back to 196 makes a load of sense to me. I still think we can get the bigger breakout. But from a 15-minute perspective, if you can get it back to resistance, I think that's just a great trade within itself. So yeah, pound yen still bullish, breakout pending. But unless you're on the lower time frames, I'm not seeing an opportunity to actually trade the breakout, to be honest. I'll go take a look at CAD yen and then UJ, then I'll go through CAD CHF after as well. So CAD yen, pretty bullish as well. Nice push to the upside for this one. It has come back into some resistance and starting to struggle a little bit. Now with CAD yen, I've been quite critical of the price action. It's just very sideways. So although it's a yen pair, and I've kind of been very bearish on the yen itself, so I've been looking for upside pretty much for all the yen pairs. But CAD yen I just haven't really paid much attention to because I'm kind of just boxing this off as one big consolidation. And yeah, I don't want to be trading inside the middle of a consolidation. If I am trading it, it's because I'm shorting the highs or buying the lows. Any other scenario, I want to stay away from. So CAD yen, really, I'm not too interested in this pair until we do clear the highs or we do clear the lows. Because at that point, we're breaking out the range, momentum's coming back into the market. I'll probably have some really nice clarity in terms of what we're expecting next from the pair. Here, I'm not too sure. I mean, we're coming back to the more or less the upper end of the channel. We might push back down here. Yeah, I'm just not too convinced about the bigger move. I'm waiting for the breakout, and then I can be a bit more confident with my expectations for CAD yen going into the next week or two. As of right now, price of respect to resistance pretty well. What would I do here? Not much, to be honest. I think this is a nice place to short, but again, because we're in this range and price action is very choppy, I'll keep it short and sweet. If you can get a reaction, I mean, even the pushback to here seems quite far away to me. But I would say it's a sensible target still. You're not looking for anything too crazy. It's almost like a bit of a head and shoulder pattern. Left, head, right, shoulder. This being a neckline. I think it is a relatively sensible target. I just don't like the conditions of the market, which is why I would stay away. But if you are looking at opportunity, I think CAD yen shorts make sense. And targets back to 103.250 makes sense as well. But I'm just not a big fan of the conditions, so I would stay away personally. Dollar yen, I like this sells a lot more because this one actually has somewhat of a trend. I mean, it's literally almost the same pattern as CAD Yen. Of course, they're both yen pairs, so the odds of that happening are not insane. But you can see we kind of got a head and shoulder pattern here as well. Left head, right shoulder. But the key difference here with dollar yen as opposed to CAD Yen is that this is coming from a very nice bearish trend. We've been very, very consistent with all the lower highs in the sequence. Excuse the messy circles, but I'm trying to map out the swing highs there so you can see how consistent we've been. So I wouldn't mind shorting this because I know I've got a trend in my favor, and the likelihood of a bearish continuation, I would say, is pretty high here, especially with the way we're rejecting that level. So I like the shorts here for dollar yen. I know CAD Yen's been bearish too as a whole, so you can still argue that the trend is still bearish, but we've been flat for quite a while. So I'd rather stay away from this opportunity and focus my attention on dollar yen, which has a bit more momentum to it. So the likelihood of price pushing in my favor pretty quickly is just a lot higher there. But they're both yen pairs, so I would imagine they both do the same thing, to be honest. It's just I would expect a smoother ride with dollar yen than CAD. But yeah, USD JPY respecting 145 500 there very well. Again, if it does play out, we talked about the setup earlier in the week, to be honest. I said I do think dollar yen is going to end up back at 140, but first I do want to see a pullback because it has been a quite prolonged corrective bearish move here, which has lacked a lot of momentum. So I did anticipate price to at least pull back. I said this would be a great place to short from. I wasn't too confident if price was going to actually make its way to that level, but it's done that. And yeah, we're respecting the level pretty well. So if we can hold this, I do think we could probably see a bit of a drop there for dollar yen. And if things go very well, you might just end up back at 140. But I think this is a sensible target to at least manage the trade in some way, somehow. Partials, break even, trail stop loss. There's multiple ways to do it. But I think that will make sense for a first target. But yeah, dollar yen to me, pretty bearish. As long as we maintain resistance here, I see us falling over. In terms of CAD CHF, so as a whole, I've been pretty bullish on the CHF pairs. I am buying New Zealand CHF at the moment. I was looking to buy Aussie CHF as well, but not so much anymore. But I still am bullish on that pair as well. CAD CHF, another pair which is coming from all-time lows. And I do think price can have a bit of a retracement. Don't get me wrong, the market's still very bearish as a whole. We can see the trajectory of the market is very much to the downside. So it is still a bearish market, but when we do come from these all-time lows, especially with FX pairs, we do revert to the upside pretty quickly. In regards to CAD CHF, we haven't actually done that, to be honest. We actually are still pretty flat. So I think in terms of a really good opportunity for CAD CHF, a nice kind of rally to the upside, something like this to kind of set the tone, would be nice. And that would entice me to a trade because CAD CHF haven't really been interested in the pair. I don't know if we're going to go through that retracement phase or is price still bearish, still looking to continue. That could be the case. But if we could see a move like this break into the upside with some really nice momentum, well, that would point out to me that, okay, the buyers are in control of the market and we're likely to continue. So that's really what I've been banking on for CAD CHF. Just haven't seen that happen. Market's still very, very corrective, still respecting resistance and support here. So I'm going to stay away from CAD CHF until I get the breakout, to be honest. Even if we break to the downside, there's some opportunities there as well. So if we clear the lows, look for a retest, you can swing them back to the lows here as well. So that's an opportunity within itself too. But yeah, CAD CHF not looking great, I must say. We might see a swing back to the low end. Not really an opportunity that excites me, so I'm not too concerned with that. I can see we're coming back to resistance here, and we're doing a pretty good job of respecting it. So that could be a nice short there for CAD CHF, sorry. But in terms of what I'm looking for, is definitely something like this, which again may or may not happen. I need a big breakout for that to actually come into fruition. So I'll be waiting on the sidelines for a while. But at the moment, yeah, resistance is holding pretty well. We could be seeing a bit of a drop there. And of course, CAD CHF, CAD yen kind of in a similar situation, both respecting resistance. Both might go for a little bit of a sell-off there. So yeah, hopefully that made sense. CS integrated still holding my DXY buy position. Okay, nice. Yeah, you caught that, didn't you? Very well. 98.850. Should I hold longer? TP 100.5. So TP 100.5. My TP is 100.8 until the end of this week. Okay, forgot to trail my stop loss as I was focused on euro and pound pairs. Okay, cool. And King, yes, we'll take a look at euro yen for you, no problem. Let me just go through the DXY. So you said you're long from 98, 98.850. So right at the lows here. Very nice trade. So you're looking to TP at 100.5. Haven't we hit 100.5? Yeah, more or less. I mean, might depend on the broker you're trading with. But here it looks like we just tagged 100.5. In terms of 100.8, it would be here. So just above us there slightly. But yeah, I think it's a phenomenal trade, to be honest. Really nice swing. I'm still pretty bearish with the DXY, so I do still think the bigger move is still to take us back to these lows here. I'm not quite convinced about a reversal, because if we're going to hit 100.8, I probably don't see much stopping us actually going to hit 102, basically, back at the highs there. So if we go hit 108, I think we probably just keep going, and I'm not quite convinced about a reversal here for the dollar. I think the likelihood is that the market still does fall. So I do think we are still as a whole in a bearish market. So I'm treating this bullish move as a pullback for us to continue lower. So I must admit, really nice trade there. Smash into a pretty big level. I think TP at 100.5 has made a lot of sense there. Would I hold to 100.8? Maybe if I was confident in the move, I might leave a little position to run. Take most of my profit and leave a position to run just in case we do. It allows me to maximize my winners that way. And I still had taken a good chunk of my profits at that original take profit. So you could probably do that. Again, that's down to you to make that decision. But I think hitting that level there has been a solid target. Any further, I feel like if we do see that upside, we're probably going to see a lot more upside, to be honest. So I'm not confident on a push to 100.8. I'm also looking at USD potentially pushing down. Okay, yeah, hit it. Yeah, it was a nice trade. Had no idea DXY could actually be traded. Yeah, I mean, it's a market at the end of the day. It's a market. You'd be surprised about things that can be traded, to be honest. I mean, I don't trade the DXY. I only look at the DXY just to gauge what's happening with the USD. But it's a market. I mean, with the DXY, it's almost like you're trading Euro USD, to be honest. The price action is slightly different, but I would say 85% of the time, the price action pretty much just mirrors Euro USD, of course, the other side. So, if you trade Euro USD, you're looking at a similar price action to the DXY most of the time, really. Yeah, current rejection is pretty strong. Yeah, so that would worry me. Like I said, you can close most of your profits and leave a little bit to run, because again, I don't have a crystal ball. Potentially do go and run to 100.8. Honestly, I'm not quite confident that does happen, but maybe leaving a position on could be a situation where you do take advantage of that. But personally, I would close the trade. Okay, keeping the profits is the goal. Yeah, very, very true. Very, very true. Especially when it's hit your original target as well, because there's the worst type of trade where it actually does hit your target, but then you kind of have a further target which you might think price gets to, and it doesn't get then, and the original trade, the original winning trade you had, you end up closing at break even or a very small win, or worse, a loss. That is a real kick in the teeth there, because it did what you said it will do, originally, but it might not continue to a further target you may have had on the way. So you do want to kind of pay yourself for that. At the very least, book some partials, at the very least, or trade a stop loss. Anyway, we'll go through Euro Yen next. Euro NZD buys at 1.88 as it's coming into strong demand. Okay, we'll take a look at Euro NZD. Okay, happy to help Season Greater just close moving to the, yeah, fair enough. It was a great trade. It was a great trade. So pat yourself on the back, on to the next one. I'm waiting for dollar CHF long confirmation. Interesting. I'm pretty bullish on the CHF pairs. I'm not so much looking to buy dollar CHF, I must admit, mainly because I'm still pretty bearish in USD. But if structure changes, I would be open to longs in dollar CHF. I'll go through that in a second. Ameth, good morning. Welcome to the stream. Hope you're well. Let me go take a look at Euro JPY. So this one's been a bit more of an awkward pair, to be honest. You can see the conditions of the market haven't been amazing. It's not like we've been trending well. It's been a little bit up and down, but it's still a yen pair, and I've been pretty bullish on the yen pairs. And yeah, we have seen some type of rally, even though it's been quite awkward, but we have kind of rallied to the upside. I'm still looking to see if we can push back to highs here, which would take us to 165. That's still my expectation for Euro Yen. We had a nice continuation yesterday. Didn't really set the market alight. We had a nice push, but we didn't really get going. It is looking a little bit corrective here, which isn't great, I must admit. Yeah, I would say in terms of the quality of the setup, it's not as good as it once was. I did say it would be nice to retest this structure here yesterday. Didn't quite see that happen. I mean, we could still make that happen, to be honest. And I would still like that as an opportunity as well. But yeah, I can see we're having a really tough time at the highs here. So I wouldn't be looking for buys in this area with the way price is moving. It's very corrective. I want price to push away from that noise back into some healthy support, which we haven't retested yet. And I think that would be a nice place to find the long. So Euro Yen, still bullish bias. Still think we can get back to 165. Certainly if you can find an entry like on an hourly chart or even lower, you're looking at a pretty decent risk to reward back to the highs there as well. So I think the risk is worth the reward here. But in terms of the setup, I would wait for us to get to that 163 area. Yeah, I'd wait for us to get to 163. I mean, overall, that bullish structure is still up, so I like it. It's just very flat. It's not the best bullish trend you'll ever see, of course, which is why I'm not really interested in trading Euro Yen myself. But as long as that bullish structure holds, I do think we can end up back at 165. Okay, so Euro NZD we'll take a look at next, and then we'll go through dollar CHF. Follow the trend. Also, New Zealand CAD looking bullish. Triangle breakout on the daily chart. Consolidation for a long time. Meaning a big breakout. I do agree. We've been consolidating for a while, so I do think we can push to the upside with that one as well. I'm still looking for NZD strength too. Euro NZD, I'm not so bullish on this one. I'm actually a bit more short bias. I know the trend as a whole is to the upside, but I do think this is more likely to have a bigger retracement first before we likely continue. So Euro NZD, I do see us dropping here. I know we've been very, very flat there as well. But the way prices kind of operated with this big impulse, correction, big impulse, and then markets being very, very flat, and especially where we're trading in the higher time frames too, the fact we just about took out the COVID highs there as well, I think it does invite a lot more downside. So for Euro NZD, I have been looking for price to at least come back and retest some of these areas first before perhaps we do continue in that longer term bullish journey. So yes, we are approaching areas of demand, support to our left here. I think yes, it probably on the lower time frames, it could end up being a nice place for a buy. But I do think we're more likely to go and break through that area. We might bounce first, but I do think a lower high will form and we will continue. Price has been pretty much trading within this channel here, and it's been operating pretty well. So that 1.86 level, which we just mapped out on the higher time frame, I think that's a likely draw on price. I think we're likely going to end up there. I think for a bullish standpoint, I'll be a lot more confident trying to pick some longs from the retest of that level or anywhere within there rather than some buys here, just because it's a more significant area. We're coming to the low end of the channel as well, so that's a bit of confidence. So I'd rather try and pick up some longs there, but I do think this support is likely to break. It might bounce initially, but I do think it's likely to break. So yeah, USD, there might be a short-term buy there, but I don't see it going pretty far. Yeah, I do think we're likely going to continue falling here. Dollar CHF, again, with this pair, I'm actually quite bullish on the CHF pairs, but dollar CHF, not really, because I'm quite bullish on the CHF pairs, but yeah, I'm bearish in USD. Completely lost my train of thought there. I'm bearish in USD, so I do think USD potentially is going to be weaker than CHF, because of course if I'm bullish on the CHF pairs, that means I'm bearish on the CHF currency, but I think USD might be the weaker currency out of the two. Anyway though, I like the structure here. We've kind of got this head and shoulder pattern, which we've seen a few of these patterns today actually. Respected it pretty well. I think this is a nice level to short from. It's proven to be solid resistance and support in recent times here. And again, similar to kind of the DXY, I kind of just expect this bearish trend here just to continue falling. The market's still respecting very big levels of support turn resistance on the weekly chart here. So if you look at these massive rejections, one over there, second over there, I've marked this as a zone, taken it across. You can see a couple of weeks ago, we got a beautiful wick to the upside and price pull back down there. And then last week, we got a very nice bearish engulfing candle. So from a weekly perspective, this zone here of 0.836 is doing a pretty good job at respecting, at holding price here. So I do think there's a stronger chance, a more likely chance we do push down back to the lows and slightly break to the upside. Hence why I would be pretty bearish here for dollar CHF. So yeah, USD CHF, I think we're likely going to keep falling here. The only way I'll look to change that bias is if I do see price break above this area here. If it does break above that area, I would at least flip the intraday bias or the intra-week bias back to the highs here. We might still sell off from there, but at least I think there might be a nice buy opportunity on the retest of that level. But for now, we're respecting the level pretty well, and I would expect us to continue lower. So I do think the bigger move is the downside for USD CHF. If there is a buy, we need to break above the zone and retest it, then there might be something there to take us back into the swing high at 0.846. That's the only way I'll look to try and buy dollar CHF. But I do think we end up back at these lows, especially based on what the weekly is doing. If we do break above that zone in the weekly, I would change my bias. But for now, I do think we're likely to continue lower. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with dollar CHF. Where was I? New Zealand CAD we'll go through next. If I have missed out pair, let me know. But we'll go for New Zealand CAD. Amethyst Gold cable, no problem. We'll take a look. Allen Gold targeting 32.46. Okay, yeah, we'll take a look at that as well. Allen Aussie dollar place limit. Okay, we'll go through that. We'll go for Aussie dollar. No problem. Follow the trend. Happy to help. And King, don't you have the edge finder? No, I do not use the edge finder. Yeah. Alan, short and dollar CHF. Yeah, I do like dollar CHF as a short. It does look really, really good. I'm not so... I mean, it does look good, but I'm not looking to get in because at the moment I'm still buying New Zealand CHF. So I'm actually still kind of shorting CHF right now. So I don't really want to be shorting dollar CHF, which kind of goes against my trade at the moment. So I'll stay out for that reason. But on paper, yeah, I do agree. Hassan, thank you. Appreciate it. Good to help. I'm glad it helps. Just a quick question. What's your bias in your USD? Good question. Actually not a big fan of the price action euro. Let me go through. I've got a bunch of pairs to go through, but I will get through to New Zealand CAD. So yeah, New Zealand CAD looking very, very bullish. I do think price is likely to continue to the upside. Again, the reason why I like New Zealand CAD is because of this big V-shaped pattern, massive impulse, massive recovery, gives you the V-shape. And typically what happens when you get a V-shaped pattern, you get a small correction and then you get the continuation. And this is exactly what I expect price is doing. There's your small correction, now expecting continuation. It's just taking its sweet time. This is a daily candle, so each candle is worth a day. So it's been a while, but I do think price is likely to push the upside there. That was an awful arrow. There we go. I do think price is likely to break to the upside. But again, trading is the difficult part, because how do you get involved? Well, if I want to get involved, I want to be at the lows here, because that's where I want to get a stop loss, and that'll be the most. It'll give me the safest place for a stop loss and the best place for an entry if I can get involved anywhere around here. So I want to see New Zealand CAD push down, maybe even wick through the lows here, and then use that as an entry. Yeah, that would be my third opportunity. I mean, if we get that push down or not, I have no idea. I think you could also probably be looking for the breakout of this trend line, but I'm not very much a fan of breakout opportunities. To be honest, I haven't really got that much experience trading breakouts, so yeah, it's nothing I look at personally. But again, I understand that sometimes you don't always get the retest you're after, so the breakout is always the next best opportunity there. But yeah, I do agree. New Zealand CAD's been consolidating for a while. I do think the breakout is going to be really nice, take us back to the highs here on the left and probably a lot further. But in terms of a setup to actually trade this opportunity, I do want to see us come back to the lows here at 0.16, and hopefully I can find some entries there. But it's just a waiting game potentially, because we might get there, we might not get there. I have to wait and see. But I know my bias. I know what I'm expecting from the market. It's just, can we find an entry? We have to wait and see. Gold and cable. So gold, last time I checked, looking pretty bearish. I do think there's more downside to be had with gold, to be honest. I said my bias for the week is pretty straightforward for gold. If price respects the upper end of this channel, I'm bearish. If price breaks through the upper end of the channel, I'm bullish. If you do break to the upside, then naturally, I'll just be looking for us to get back to the all-time highs. But as we can see, we didn't do that. We respect the upper end of the channel very well. So I do think there is a good chance we do spill over back to 31.50. For me to be bullish in gold, I need to see us break above the high. As simple as that. And if I drop to the lower time frames, like the hourly chart, all I'm seeing is bearish structure. We've got one high there, second high there, a third over there. So naturally, I'll be looking for a fourth for a continuation lower. So pretty healthy structure, I'm not gonna lie. Really nice structure, lovely momentum, clear swing highs and swing lows. I think if you're looking to get involved with gold, shorts make the most sense. Shorts make the most sense. In and around 32.95, I would say. So yeah, pretty bearish with gold here. Just looking for the next swing high for another drop. If we do go and violate that structure, perhaps we do go and see that bigger breakout. But until then, I'm pretty bearish with gold. In terms of pound USD, I like the setup as well. I think it's one of the more straightforward out of the USD pairs, because pound USD has been extremely bullish, to be honest. Zooming out to the higher time frames, we had that massive level from September last year, dragging that across. Prices finally cleared that level, and now we're retesting it as support. So as long as we can maintain this as support, 1.34, I do think pound USD is likely to rally back into the highs. I noted earlier in the stream that if price was to come back and retest it for a double bottom, that could be a really nice entry signal, perhaps even like an hourly chart, and then you can ride that back to the highs. I also like the fact that we're coming back into this consolidation here, where we spent a few hours there consolidating, then we ripped to the upside. That was on Friday there, wasn't it? Yeah, Friday last week, and now we're back in that same zone. That's where all the momentum came from last week. Now we're back there again. Perhaps we could see a continuation of that momentum. So in terms of the location where we're trading, in terms of the setup as well, in terms of the higher time frames, a lot of boxes are ticked here with pound. Just stay above 1.34, and I do expect us to rally. So yeah, pound USD pretty bullish on that one. Okay, so I'll go through Aussie dollar next for Alan, and then we'll take a look at Euro USD as well. Hassan, should we wait for liquidity sweep or wait for your entry? Again, there's no right or wrong, to be honest. You can wait for price to fake a low and then buy, or you don't have to. From my experience, I'd probably say it's about 50-50 in terms of what happens, really. You know, sometimes you get situations where price will, come back to respect support, doesn't break through, and then does reverse with no sweep of the lows. And then the other half of the time, you will get price take the lows out, and then it will move. Of course, if you always wait for this opportunity, it means you don't take these opportunities, so you miss out on these moves, which again, not a bad thing. If you only focus on these opportunities, it means you're a bit more specific, you're a bit more precise in your trades as well. It's an added confluence as well, because the fact that price has already faked the lows and then redeems them is a sign of failure to break to the downside, so more likely to push to the upside. So it is an added confluence for a trade. But it doesn't always happen. So waiting for this to happen means that there will be times where you miss out on trades. But again, it's a price to pay. In my situation, I kind of just look for the setup. I'm not too bothered about price faking the lows. I do understand that it does provide extra confidence for a trade. But there's been many occasions where I've missed out on some really big winners just waiting for that precise kind of fake out. So in my book, I'd rather just have the trade, take the trade. If I do get stopped out and price does sweep the lows, I'd rather just get stopped out than re-enter, because the way I trade, I focus more so on risk to reward rather than win rate. So me taking a loss to take a winner is not really a big deal, especially if I can return a 3R, 4R, 5R, minus 1R barely makes a dent in that. So I'm not too bothered about taking a loss to take a win, as long as the opportunity is good, of course. But yes, it is better if you can get a sweep of the lows. It's just it doesn't happen all the time, and you will miss out on some trades. So if you're okay with that situation, go for it. But yeah, that's my take on pound. Hassan, I'm going to take New Zealand CAD trade. Yes, I didn't take it because I was waiting for a sweep as told by you. Yeah, again, if you're waiting for the sweep, that's fine. There's no right or wrong with trading, because sometimes you wait for the sweep, you get the sweep. Sometimes you wait for the sweep, you don't get the sweep, and you miss the move. So it's kind of like, pick your poison sort of situation. You don't want to overcomplicate things either. Fianca? Probably saying your name incorrectly, but welcome to the stream. Hope you're well. I am doing good, thank you. Can you check BTC? Of course, we'll have a look at Bitcoin. Actually, Bitcoin's looking interesting. I had a quick look before I hopped onto the stream. It's looking pretty interesting, actually. So yeah, what I'm going to go through next, Euro USD. I'll go through my trade and my watch list as well. Well, there's probably more so watches for next week now, but still for the remainder of this week as well. Follow the trend. Fed is still very uncertain about inflation and trade-off deals, showing a more bearish effect on gold. Currently fundamentals, technical support, gold downside. Yeah, I do agree with that as well. Yeah, I mean, especially when you get the technicals and the fundamentals aligned, it's a good setup when you got those two agreeing with each other. But yeah, I mean, definitely from a technical side of things, gold's not looking too great. Gold is not looking too great. The fact that we're respecting the channel there, yeah, I would expect us to keep falling. Of course, things can change very quickly. That's the thing, you know. Certain news release can turn this on its head very quickly, but as of now, structure's still pointing down, so I would fancy more downside for gold. Anyway, so Euro, I'm actually quite flat on Euro. I do think the bigger move is to the upside as well. I still think prices are likely to get back to the highs here. So I'm still pretty bullish on Euro, but the other USD pairs, which we mentioned on the stream, especially Pound USD, just looks a lot cleaner, a lot clearer to trade. And I'd rather focus on that than try and find something where there isn't on Euro USD. And the reason why I don't like Euro at the moment is because we did technically break through some structure. You know, price was giving us higher highs and higher lows here, which was fantastic because we went and broke through, you know, this bearish channel from, you know, a couple of weeks back. We broke through that noise, so I was just expecting price to make its way back into resistance there. But of course, since yesterday, we've had a pretty deep pullback, and then early hours of the morning, we had this dump, which took out the lows there. So because of that, it's made things a bit awkward. Like I said, I still think Euro is likely to push higher. That's more so because of the higher time frames. The 4-hour chart is giving me mixed signals here. So from a trading perspective, I would stay away. Analysis does tell me that we're probably likely to push higher still, but from a trading perspective, which of course is where you make your money, I don't really see a setup here. So personally, I'll stay away. The bias is bullish, but I don't see a setup. I think Pound USD just looks a lot better, to be honest. So I'd rather try my luck there than with Euro. And again, they're very similar pairs too. So if Pound does rally, probably Euro rallies too. But Pound just looks a lot clearer. Okay, so I'll go through BTC, then I'll go through my position on New Zealand CHF and through some of my pairs on the watch list as well. And then we'll take a look at, I'm always worried about taking option A, but if liquidity sweeps happens, here's my stop loss. Yeah, again, like I said, if you want to wait for that precise entry, then waiting for price to sweep lows is always going to be a good confluence, or sweep highs, of course, is always going to be a good confluence for your trade. And there's nothing wrong with just waiting for that to happen. The only con with that, just like with everything you do in trading, there's always a pro and con. There's always a pro and con. In trading, there's rarely something that's good or bad. It's just pro and cons with it. With the cons of waiting for price to sweep the lows, it doesn't happen all the time. From my experience, I'd probably say it's about 50-50 really. Maybe happens slightly more than not, but more or less around 50-50. Whether price will sweep a low or just respect it and not sweep the low or the high, of course. So you will find yourself waiting for opportunities that just don't happen, and you'll miss out on some trades that do play out because they don't quite sweep the lows or quite sweep the highs. If you're okay with that, which again is perfectly fine to be okay with, it just depends how many opportunities you're getting and what time frames you're trading on. That's perfectly fine. Wait for the lows to be taken out because it is a positive for the trade. If price can kind of wick through a low and pull back very quickly, that's a really good sign for a trade. A really good sign. It's just a heads up. It doesn't always happen. Anyway, we'll go through BTC. So Bitcoin actually thinks in a really nice place for a buy. Well, it's kind of pulling away now, but we came back to retest this support level here from last week, kind of forming a double bottom, so to speak. But I do think Bitcoin is still bullish and still likely to push back to highs there at 112k. So as a whole, looking at BTC, it's still a very bullish market. We are slowing down though, which does make me kind of feel a little bit weary about price. I'm not gonna lie, because BTC historically does tend to rip through the highs very aggressively, and that does what kicks off a nice bullish cycle. If we're corrective at the highs, I do wonder if we're just kind of do something like this and then spill over at some stage, which I feel is probably the likely outcome with BTC at the moment, unless some momentum comes from somewhere and we rip to the upside, then great. But if we stay choppy and slow, I do think we spill over here. But in terms of trading BTC and the current price action, yeah, very, very bullish. You can see the current structure here. Push, correction, push, correction, push, correction, push. Looking at a slightly bigger correction, but again, expect another push to the upside. Straightforward structure, very healthy bullish price action. I'll expect a lot more upside here, and we just respected some very nice support. So yeah, from this area, I do think we can rally and take out some highs. So BTC onwards and upwards, but we need some momentum, or this might just kind of fizzle out and drop. So yeah, anyway, I'm currently long on New Zealand CHF. I've had this position since last Friday, I believe. Yeah, last Friday. Yeah, Friday. Finally seen some momentum. It's been a very flat move. I mean, initially did push them out of favor, which was nice, but then we've just been flat throughout the whole of this week pretty much until this morning, early hours of the morning, price did kind of rally, and I have gone break even now since we just about have taken out these highs to our left. That's the high I said I want price to break through, and that will allow me to manage my risk. Because at this point, we've broken structure. I don't want to see price now go and break structure to the downside. I've got that indication that price is now bullish. Why should I maintain risk there? So I have moved stops to break even. In terms of targets, these two are my targets. I'll probably book 50% there and the rest there. Yeah, because again, New Zealand CHF coming from all-time lows. I do expect to see a pretty big recovery for this one. A pretty big recovery. Same thing with Aussie CHF as well. Coming from all-time lows, I do think there is a lot of room to the upside with this one. So I'm looking for a pretty big move, but at least a push back to the highs here, secure profit, and then hopefully the next level after that. But I haven't found any new opportunities this week, to be honest. I mean, I've been looking at the yen pairs, but they've kind of left me in the dust. At the moment, I've been looking at New Zealand CAD as well. But in fairness, I haven't actually been looking to enter that one because I actually am still buying New Zealand CHF, so I don't want to double up. But now that I've gone to break even, now I can go and trade New Zealand CAD. I didn't want to double up on NZD. But in terms of my watch list for the remainder of this week and probably going to next week, New Zealand CAD is on there. I like the buys very, very much. If I can get a push into the lows there, that'll be fantastic. And of course, swing it back to highs and probably further as well. Now, also because I'm break even with New Zealand CHF, I also like the look of Aussie yen longs if that can pull back. This one hasn't pushed away too far. I'm also looking at the double bottom here, hoping we can push back into that area for a buy. Not too sure if we will, but if we do, I'm there ready waiting for a trade. I like the major support to our left. Price is respecting really well, and I think there's a likely chance we do return back to highs there at 95.588. I was looking at New Zealand yen as well, but that's ripped to the upside. I don't see that coming back down now. But yeah, pretty bullish on this one as well. In terms of the USD pairs, dollar CAD looks really good. I like the look of that one. Waiting for some shorts here. These are the two zones I'm eyeing up, 1.385 and 1.395. At the moment, I'm not a big fan of the pullback. It kind of looks like a big V-shaped pattern, which again is more of a bullish pattern, not a bearish one. So I want price to kind of slow down, maybe give me a bit of a double top before I look for any entries, but I am looking for a big sell there for USD CAD. And the USD, I like the look of this one as well for the buys. I'm looking at the retest of the low here or the retest of the high here. Either which way I like it. More so this one because it positioned me better for the trade. I can probably take advantage of a much bigger swing there, but I wouldn't mind this opportunity as well. Solid resistance. If we can see a clean break, I think the buys will look really, really good there as well. Euro pound, I'm still keeping a close eye on this one. I admit the price action hasn't been great this week. We have come back into a nice area of demand, and I do like how price is moving because it's very corrective, very slow, which leads me to expect to see a bit of a rally at some point here. I don't think we'll get back to the highs here anymore. But I do think we can at least catch somewhat of a bounce, even if we are going to continue lower. So I do like the zone we're coming into, but yeah, price action not really giving me a signal just yet, so being patient there. Yeah, I mean, that's probably about it, to be honest. Not a lot, nothing amazing. I do like dollar CAD a lot. I do like New Zealand CAD a lot. Yeah, just staying patient, really. Euro pound looks good, but the price actually needs to improve at these lows if I do find a trade. But other than that, just going to manage New Zealand CHF for now. Okay, been long BTC since yesterday. Nice. It's looking pretty good now. Moffats, pound yen. Okay, we'll take a look at that one as well for you. No problem. Euro USD, long position, stop loss around 1.12. Okay, we'll have a look at that as well. Dark Sean, good morning, my man. I hope you're well. NAS US 30 on the 5 minute. Okay, we'll have a look too. No problem, Ameth, happy to help. No problem, Hassan, happy to help. What's up? Yes, sir. Welcome to the stream. Hope you're well. Can you go through GU 4-hour time frame and teach us how to identify trend reversals, how to change our bias? Okay, I can do that. I mean, keep it relatively straightforward there. Just focus on market structure, but I'll go over that quickly for you. Anyway, I'll go through pound yen quickly, beat and euro. Then we'll go through some of the indices. So yeah, pound yen, as I said, very bullish on this one. I would expect more upside, just not really seeing an opportunity to trade it apart from like on the 15-minute chart. I think from a 4-hour perspective, yeah, the move has happened, the trend has happened. So yeah, that ship has sailed. But from a 15-minute perspective, I do like the zone here. I feel like this is a really smart place for a buy. Nice kind of pause there, if you will, or slight pullback. Then, of course, price ripped to the upside very, very impressively. So I think naturally this is a great place to be looking to along the pair. Again, if we can see another entry signal, take it back into highs and probably a lot higher as well. So pound yen, if you can drop to the 15, I feel like this is a smart place for a buy. 95,300 we'll call it. And yeah, a push back into resistance makes a load of sense there. So very, very bullish there for pound yen. In terms of euro, as I've said, I'm just not feeling the market a lot, to be honest. I am bullish. I still think we're likely going to continue back to highs. I still think USD is likely going to continue back to lows. So I do think euro is going to see a bullish move. But in terms of the price action, I'm not as a fan of it. I like that it is respecting some structure here. So that does kind of help with that bullish bias too. If we break through that completely, then yeah, I would just move away from euro at that point, or even become bearish. But we are still just about respecting structure here. This could be our next high low. So if you're going to get long, I would have stops underneath 1.12. I think that would be a smart place, because if price does hit your stop loss now, well, we're probably in the wrong direction anyway. So you want to be out the trade and move out the way of that. But if price can start to hold this well, start to put in some bullish structure again, yeah, I do think that's a great place for a buy. And it could be a situation where if it does perform well, you swing it back to highs, and if it performs very well, you swing it back to highs over there at 1.155, and that looks like a really nice risk reward position there. So yeah, euro still just about bullish, even despite the break of structure. I like how we're still respecting this zone here. I just think pound USD looks a lot clearer of a setup, so that's why I'd rather just focus on pound USD. It's a bit more straightforward. You know, price come back to retest resistance there, pull back into a nice area of demand, break and retest. You know, there's nothing too complicated with pounds, so I'd rather take the buy here. But I probably would argue that euro's got a little bit more meat on the bone. If euro is going to push to the upside, well, we're looking for a swing from here all the way back there. Whereas pound, you're just looking to take it back to the high here. So maybe the risk reward is a bit better for euro, but they're both very similar pairs. So I do think both will likely rally. Just euro, a bit of an unexpected pullback. Anyway, let's go through NAS and US 30 on the 5-minute chart. So NAS looking very, very, but let me just see where we are in respect to the all-time highs. Okay, we're not too far away now. We've absolutely smashed the highs there. So I do think we're just going to end up back at 22,200 pretty soonish now. Anyway, drop into the lower time frames. 4 hour, how we doing? Looking very bullish. I like the zone here. I like the wicks there. Lovely piercing wick to the downside. Ran through the lows here on the lower time frames and then rallied like no tomorrow. I think a retest of this area would be the best place for a buy. That's probably more so like an hourly trade or a 30-minute trade. I think from a 5-minute perspective, I mean, that still would be a nice place for a buy. It's just that was so far away. So I think we're in the middle of nowhere a little bit on the 5-minute chart. There's not a lot to work with. I understand that if we zoom out, you can look to the left here a little bit. Probably coming to an area of supply there a little bit. So that might give us a bit of a move to the downside. But it was a long time ago we used those areas in reference to the 5-minute even. So I wouldn't really be too focused. So yeah, keeping it pretty simple. I would wait for price to come back and retest some structure here. That would be a very nice place for a buy. 21,500 and a continuation from there. I think in the meantime, there might be some nice shorts actually with the NAS. Maybe if we see a confident breakout here, there might be a nice short opportunity to trade it back down and then buy it back up perhaps tomorrow or maybe Monday. So I think I still expect the bigger move to be to the upside for NAS and for us to get back to the all-time highs. But in the meantime, there might be some nice counter trend plays, a breakout of that consolidation, a retest, take advantage of that move down. And then perhaps when we do come back to some structure around 21,500, we can start to discuss some longs again and take it back to highs and hopefully a lot further as well. So that's kind of the best I've got with NAS because we rallied through the highs. We're in the middle of nowhere on the 5-minute chart. So I would expect retracement. Hence, I think the shorts could look good, but the buys is where I think it's at. So yeah, from a 4-hour perspective, that zone looks really, really nice. And I think that's a likely zone where we can push higher. No problem, yes, sir. I was on a sell on US 30 from 42,660, but didn't feel it and got out quickly. Okay, now I'm regretting that. Oh, dropped 300 pips. I missed all of that. That's unfortunate, my man. That is unfortunate. Let's take a look at US 30. Wow, yeah, US 30 is looking pretty bearish there. Really big sell-off. But to be honest, I'm still pretty bullish on US 30. So yes, might have missed out on the sell, but I think you can probably find a buy to take it back up. I still do think 4,800 is a likely target for US 30. Again, I think the all-time highs is a likely target for US 30. I do think that's where price is headed towards. So as we do come back into these areas, I think this is a smart place to try and gauge some bullish setups to take it back up again, and you can make back that opportunity back. But yeah, again, it's unfortunate. I mean, it comes down to kind of confidence in the setup and how you want to manage your trades, because there are some trades where I do get out early as well, and I do regret it. I think everyone who's ever traded can definitely relate to that, especially when it turns out to be a big winner as well. You do want to kick yourself after that. But again, you're not to know till after. If it was a losing position, you'd pat yourself on the back. But yeah, always move on to the next setup. You dust yourself off, get back up again. I think there's a good opportunity to be had here with US 30. I think, of course, the sells have come and gone now. But as we start to approach some structure, especially around 42,300, I like the look of this for a buy. because we're looking pretty bearish now. So I think there's probably still a bit more downside left. But if we can slow down, I think this could turn into a really nice buy, and we could start the next bull run. As long as price doesn't take out this low here at 42k, as long as we don't take out that low, I do think we're likely to rally back to resistance and probably a lot higher as well. So overall, very, very bullish for US 30. Very, very bullish. Hassan, I'll go through that pound USD example for you. No problem. Good morning, Godfrey. Welcome to the stream. Hope you're well. US oil, yes, we'll take a look. No problem. Hudal? Not many US 30 traders online. Thanks. No problem. I mean, I don't trade US 30 myself, to be honest, but I do keep up to date with the price action, so I can always give my analysis on it. But glad it helps. Okay, so let's go through pound USD. So in terms of just reversals, I think that the best way to gauge it is just market structure. You know, keep things relatively simple. There's no need to overcomplicate things, certainly in terms of direction, because direction is something that you kind of just don't have to necessarily be right with either, especially in trading. You know, you can still be in the wrong direction and still make money. It just means you have to time your exits well. So direction isn't the most important thing, because there's money to be made in both directions with trading, especially in FX. You know, this is a market that has, you know, bottomed in September, and it's been in an upwards trend till this day right now. But there's been massive bearish swings here. So, and there's been swings within that as well. So despite your direction, despite your bias, whether you're bullish or bearish since September, you know, both buyers and sellers will be able to make, you know, good profits in that time. So bias isn't too important. It's more so with your timing of entry and your timing of exit, whichever bias you're going to have. But a good way just to keep things simple is just follow market structure. And with me, I follow the daily market structure because it's a higher time frame, it's a bit slower, and it will allow me to kind of stay in line with the overall expectation of the market, especially regarding fundamentals as well. Because if you use like 15-minute time frame for market structure, which is nothing wrong to do, by the way, it just keeps everything intraday, and it's more kind of easily affected by news and news releases more so. So in terms of the bigger trend, I wouldn't be using a 50-minute chart. I would use a 50-minute chart for the day's trend, so I'd be in and out within that day. But because I'm using the daily market structure to gauge the trend, it allows me to hold trades longer. Of course, it's a high time frame too. But anyway, just follow market structure. In this case, with pound USD, this is the 4-hour chart. This is the last major swing low. And of course, this is the last major high. So technically speaking, as long as we stay above this low here, I will remain bullish on pound USD. Doesn't necessarily mean I won't be able to look for shorts. If I do see some really nice counter trend structure, something like this, I can perhaps look for a short within this bullish trend. But it still does mean that price can still very much turn bullish and continue at any point really, because we're still above the swing low. So to gauge reversal, look for price to break lows. And then once price does break a low, you're then expecting a lower high, and then you'll be expecting a new low. Now that pattern won't happen all the time, but 60-70% of the time, when a structural low gets taken, you will see a new low afterwards. So that is a great way to gauge trend and gauge reversal. Wait for the major low to be taken out, not like a small low here to be taken out. This is a bit more lower time frame. It's not significant. I wouldn't use that to gauge a trend directional change. But this low is taken out, yeah, I would look at that as a change in direction. So yeah, just keep an eye on the lows. Keep things simple. Like I said, bias is not too important. You know, we could, like I said, since September, and this is just a random example, since September, let's say I'm bullish, let's say you're bearish. They're just equally both good opportunities in both directions. Even though the trend's been up, there's still been really good shorts, but you just have to time your entries and your exits well. Same thing for the buyers too. Okay, so I'll go through oil for Godfrey. I still haven't gone through the yen pairs yet. But yeah, in terms of oil, so we have had a bit of a rally here. We've had a bit of a rally. I've been keeping up to date with oil. I don't normally look at oil, but it's a pair which I probably will be looking to add to my watch list soon. It's not a market I trade at the moment, but I think I'll be looking to add it because I've been looking at the price action. It moves pretty much like an FX pair. It does have some weird kind of volatile moments and maybe some big gaps here and there, but it pretty much moves like an FX pair. So I don't really see why I shouldn't be looking to trade it. And it has bigger swings than the FX pair as well, which is why I like it. You know, swings like this, you don't see too often on an FX pair, but on oil, from time to time, you have some really nice trends here. So I like the look of it. But anyway, in terms of oil at the moment, I'm pretty bearish on oil. We've come back into some nice structure, well, almost. And if we can maintain this 63,500 level, I think it's a great place to be looking to short oil to take it lower. Also, I think this is also a nice opportunity as well. If we can break through the support, then look for some type of retest on the back end of it. And then, of course, expectations will be a push back down into the lows here at 55,500 or 55 on the dot. But oil I'm pretty bearish on. I think price is just still in that bearish structure. Of course, we've had the massive break of support recently, which has kind of set the tone for me. For me to become bullish on oil from a higher time frame standpoint, I need to see price clear back above this level here at 66. If we break above that, yeah, I will become at least temporarily bullish on oil. But for now, that's not the case. For now, still struggling at highs. I do think we're likely to keep dropping here. So shorts around 63.48 look good. Certainly if you can get a stop loss above the high there. And targets back down at the lows, I think good. Of course, pretty big risk reward, but I think it's justified. If you want to wait for a slightly more safe opportunity, you can wait for the break of this support level and then look for retests on the other side. Because, of course, if you do get the break, that shows momentum is now back with the bears, because over the past few days we have been a bit flat here. So it's kind of been a battle between buyers and sellers. But if you do see a strong break of that, it's a strong sign that tells you, okay, sellers in control, most likely going to continue here to the lows. Certainly if you can get a decent retest off that level there as well. But yeah, oil pretty bearish on. I think more downside is a likely move. No problem, Hassan. Happy to help. Oil shorts, yeah, that's the direction I'll be leaning towards. In terms of opportunities, I think 63.5 looks good and 60.5 as well looks good. Retest from either one of those zones, I think it's a smart place for an entry and targets back down below there. Oil, in terms of the higher time frame trend, is pretty bearish too. We've been very consistent with these lower highs for a while now. And of course, since we've got the strong break of support there, that's made me pretty bearish now. I do think we can come a lot lower. Major support down here around 45. I think long term, oil could be making a move to that level there. But for now, pretty bearish on oil. I do think we can continue lower. No problem, Godfrey. Happy to help. Happy to help. Okay, let me finish up with the yen pairs. New Zealand yen has had a bit of a rally. I think NZD has been a little bit strong, which has helped out my New Zealand CHF position. But I was actually looking to buy New Zealand yen this week. Unfortunately, with that move, I don't think that's the case. And again, this is a nice example of a break of structure, then a continuation. Well, it hasn't continued yet, but again, break of structure there on the daily chart, just about closed above the level. So that's what you're looking for in terms of reversals. I follow market structure to gauge my bias and my direction. Doesn't mean you'll be in the right direction 100% of the time. Of course, you won't be. I don't think there's a method you can use that will keep you in the right direction all the time. But very simple market structure, a break of market structure is a very strong tool to use in terms of gauging where the market's likely to go next. But a key advice I would say is focus on the major swing points, because there's market structure everywhere. There's swings here, there's swings there. You don't want to be too focused on these minor swings. If you want to focus on these minor swings, scale down to a lower time frame. Then these become a bit more meaningful. But this is, of course, a daily chart here. So the major swings I'll be looking at would be that swing there to this low, to that high, to this low, to that high, to this low, to that high. Those would be the major swings I'll be looking at. So if price does violate a major swing high like we did over here, well, that means I'm expecting us to now continue higher. Doesn't mean we will do that 100% of the time, but more often than not, we will push higher. So because of that, I can now base trades to the upside. And if I can refine my risk well, you can look at pretty decent risk rewards there. And same goes for any time frame as well, all the way down to the 15. It's just, if you're looking for more of a swing trade, you of course want to be more so tailored to the higher time frames, of course. But yeah, Euro Yen, not Euro Yen, I don't know where that came from. New Zealand Yen looking very bullish. I think in terms of opportunity, a retest of that consolidation looks pretty good actually. Price come back, retest this zone here, maybe nice double bottom, swing it back to the highs. 87.6 I think makes a load of sense, and again I think we can go further. The yen basket has been looking a little bit awkward though, I must say. Again, I am bearish on the yen basket, but not convincingly bearish. What I mean is I'm not necessarily expecting price to absolutely plummet out of the sky here. I'm kind of just bearish, more so focusing on this 4-hour structure which we've had. So we've had the double top over there, we had a lower high there, another one there, another one there. And we just about came back to highs early in the week. No, that was Friday, sorry. Last Friday. And we've had price spillover. So we've had a nice drop. I said there was 2 major targets I would look out for the yen basket. This being one and this being one. We smashed into the first low. We've actually broken through that. Do I expect us to get here? Yes. I still do expect us to push back into the low there. But again, do I expect price to break through? I'm not too sure. I do think the bigger move for the yen basket is still to the upside. I'm still banking on this happening for the yen basket. So my long-term bias is still actually strength for the yen. I still think pound yen can plummet. I still think euro yen can plummet. I still think Swiss yen can plummet very hard. That's still at all-time highs, more or less. So I think that can drop really hard by the end of the year. I'm giving myself a big time span there for that bias. But yeah, I do think the yen basket can rally quite far. But again, more focused on the 4-hour chart. And the 4-hour chart is still bearish. So I'm not expecting this move just yet. But I am keeping my eye open for it. At the moment, things look bearish. I think we can still fall, but we'll see. Maybe respect that area in reverse. I'm not too sure. But yeah, I'm still looking for the yen weakness. So pairs like pound yen, euro yen, CAD yen, New Zealand yen, Aussie yen, I still think it's got more upside to give. Hassan, Euro Aussie, okay, we'll have a look at Euro Aussie for you, no problem. Good morning, Alex, welcome to the stream, my man, I hope you are well. So Euro Aussie, this one's been looking pretty bearish. I do think we are likely to plummet. Really nice price action, looks like a nice double top there. I was a bit gutted, to be honest, because I was looking for us to come a little bit higher. We had this zone up here, which I was banking on price coming into. I've been looking to short Euro Aussie since the break of that level, actually. So that dates back to the 1st of May. So basically the start of the month when we had the breakout, I said I was looking for the retest for more downside. So I've been waiting patiently. Still am waiting patiently, of course. But it looks like resistance here is doing a pretty good job, and I wonder, is price just gonna kind of just roll over here? I've got a feeling we might do. I mean, if we don't, great, and we still drive higher, fantastic. I'm still looking for that test of this zone around 1.77, and from there hopefully you can catch a short. But I do think the bigger move for Euro Aussie is more downside here. Market's very stretched, very overextended to the upside, so naturally I do think we're likely to come back in the opposite direction to correct ourselves. You can see the last time we had a very stretched move. Of course, this was abnormally stretched because there was COVID, so the market was very volatile at that stage. But you can see what happened. Price basically mirrored the move up and it came back down again. I know this was fueled by circumstantial situations, COVID of course, but price action is still price action. When the market is very overextended, especially in an FX pair like Euro Aussie, we do tend to come back down. Another prime example of that was Russia-Ukraine back in 2022. You can see price had a very, very overextended sell-off, and then we recovered that. I expect the same again here. Even if the bigger move is still to the upside, but I do expect us to recover most of this move and come back down. This is another example. This was in 2024 August. What happened then? That's when the yen pair slid, didn't it? But yeah, very crazy, over-exaggerated move to the upside. We recovered most of it. Same situation. I don't expect us to recover the whole thing, but I do think there's more downside to be had. So because of that, I do have a pretty bearish bias on Euro Aussie. But yeah, I'm not too sure if I'll get the setup I'm looking for. But yeah, in terms of where I expect us to end up, back at these lows as well, to be honest. If you're looking for a trade setup, I think keep an eye on this level. This is still a really nice level for a short. But I would also keep an eye on the breaking retest of this low here, especially if you're looking at something a bit more intraday. That might be the best bet for a trade, because we might not, of course, see that bigger pullback. But yeah, I expect us to keep selling. Just like UNSD, I think that's likely to keep selling as well. Pound NZD, Pound Aussie, I think there's downside for those pairs too. Alex, oil, okay, a lot of people talking about oil today. But yeah, as I mentioned with oil, it's still pretty bearish with this one. I think price is still likely to come back into support here, which will take us back into 56. I'm looking at resistance there. We've done a pretty good job of respecting that. We did, of course, do that last week, I think. Yeah, last week. So yeah, in terms of a setup for oil, I'm looking at two. I mean, I would like this to have a deeper test of that zone. We kind of just about test it, but I like price to kind of rally a little bit deeper so you can get a nice stop loss, better entry. But I am looking for price to hold this area for a sell, just like we mentioned back over here. But if you're looking for a slightly more safer setup, I would wait to see if we can break to the downside first, and then look for some pullbacks afterwards, and then catch the trade there on a break and retest. I think that will give you a much safer opportunity, because at that point, because essentially here we've got price just moving sideways. You know, buyers and sellers are equaling each other. No one's winning here. But if we do see a strong break to the downside, that's a clear sign that says, okay, sellers are in control here. We're probably likely to continue, especially if we come back to retest the zone and hold well. Then yeah, we'll probably just end up back at support. So oil, I do think we're likely to keep falling. Again, I would want to see a deeper test just to get a better entry and a better stop loss. But as long as we can hold this level, I do think we can drop. And yeah, keep an eye on this setup as well, especially for additional entries. If you can get a nice setup there, add to it there, that could be a very nice trade indeed. But oil, I do think we're likely to keep falling. Young Su, Dollar Seat Chef. Alrighty then, we'll take a look. So Dollar Seat Chef respecting level very well. I'm pretty bearish on USD Chef. I'm bearish on USD. I'm pretty bearish on Chef though, but I just think USD will be the weaker currency, to be honest. So that's kind of what I'm betting on. But yeah, we pull back into a very healthy level. Solid resistance once, twice, a third time there as well. Acting as support once, twice, a third time there as well, briefly. So it's been an area which price has shown a lot of respect to. And of course, we've shown respect to it again by retesting it and rejecting it as well. So I do expect dollar CHF just to fall here. Somewhat of a head and shoulder pattern. Left head, right shoulder. There's your neckline. Now expecting price to drop to the downside there. So I like the setup. It looks good. USD bias fits into it as well. And it's respecting that level well. If you're looking for a buy for dollar CHF, I would need to see this level break at 0.832. If that level can break, perhaps a nice retest could form and we can trade it back to highs. But yeah, I think the bigger move is with the sellers, especially if I zoom out to the weekly chart and look what we're doing in reference to this level. Very solid support here, support there again, and you can see we are now respecting that as resistance. So that tells me, okay, sellers are doing a pretty good job at respecting levels here. It was a pretty big level in the past, still holding well. And especially with last week's candle, very nice bearish engulfing candle there. Really shows to us momentum is with the sellers. We're likely to continue lower. So, yeah, at that point, I would just be looking at selling. The only way I'd go bullish, like I said, is if we break to the upside and some break and retest there. If, of course, we break above this weekly zone, well, that'll be a very strong bullish signal. At that point, yes, I would be looking at more upside. But that's not the case anymore. We did break above there, so I was expecting a bullish move, but we didn't get the continuation. We're back below now. So to me, the shorts are in charge, the sellers are in charge, and I do think we are likely to drop lower. So, I mean, in terms of entry, if I drop to the hourly chart, I mean, that would be a nice entry this morning. Nice kind of bearish engulfing candle, stops above the high, something like that. Maybe initial targets at the low there, extended targets back at the low there. If you're looking to get involved now, you're probably looking to see if price can double top it, then give you a short opportunity. But yeah, in regards to dollar CHF, expecting a push into the lows there. What's up, Kingsley? Welcome to the stream. All is well, all is well. Can you please check Eurozar, dollar, USD ZAR, and Aussie CHF? No problem, man. We'll take a look. No problem, Young Sue. Happy to help. So, Eurozar, it's been a minute since I've looked at this one. I suppose this is probably the last time I looked at it, which was 24th of April, so about a month ago, to be honest. But anyway, so last time I looked at this, okay, I remember now. Yeah, price made a new high. So I was like, okay, we're probably going to pull back now because that seems to be the theme of the market. You can see every time we create a new high, market dumps, creates a new high, market dumps, creates a new high, market dumps. Kind of the same pattern I'm trading on Aussie, New Zealand CHF. But yeah, we had price break underneath. Respects it's not well, but ish. And then we've fallen since then. So the plan for Euro ZAR, I probably would expect more downside. I think in terms of the short-term buy, sells still look good. That's where the momentum lies. Looks like we're about to crack through some lows here as well. So I would suggest perhaps the next pullback again. That could be a nice short. I know we're now coming back to some bullish areas here. So perhaps we start to slow down, become even more corrective. But I wouldn't be looking for any buys. This move here doesn't give me confidence to be looking to buy it. It's a very aggressive reversal here. So I do think more downside is the likely setup there. Yes, I expect a bit of a bounce, us to pull back, but as long as we maintain that bearish structure, I would keep shorting and keep trying to take this further. If I can see some signs of reversals, some double bottoms, break of structure, higher highs and higher lows, then yeah, I'll try and get back into the longs and see if I can take this back to the upside. Because after all, we are still in a bullish trend as a whole. But I will be focused on the shorts. I think swaps will be positive as well, so that would be beneficial too, looking for a bigger swing trade. So yeah, be careful of the bullish setups here. Wait for us to break the lows, look for another pullback, expecting another drop. And 19.6 is kind of an area which I'll expect us to end up drifting towards. And I think we can go further too. But I think just to keep it sensible, because again, higher time frames are still pretty bullish. Don't want to be too optimistic with targets, but yeah, more downside looks pretty likely there for Eurozar. USDZAR, same sort of situation here. In fact, did we make new highs? Maybe. Or did we not? Oh no, we just about did. Eurozar was a bit more clear. But yeah, USDZAR failing at highs there again. Same kind of pattern too. Failed at highs, and just about failed at highs there too. So at this rate, I probably would expect to see USDZAR end back at support here. What's that? 17.44, 17.5. I think there's a good chance we push there. You can see how price is kind of broken through structure here as well. So that's a clear sign for the sellers too. And we've maintained this bearish structure pretty well. So I think I'll look to see if I can get a slightly bigger pullback, because there's some weaker lower highs here. It would be nice to see if price can rally above that and then give me a setup that kind of resembles like this. That will look nice, because these are the major swings. And then I'll look for another one of those. This is a bit more kind of smaller swings, which are nothing wrong to trade, but I expect this to be the bigger move. But yeah, in terms of targets, 17.5 is a likely destination for USDZAR. Breaking through major lows is pretty big. This is the low that gave us the new high, and now price is just going to broken through that. That's a big disrespect to the buyers there, so I do think we're likely just going to keep falling now. But yeah, a nice test of the zone like this would look good. Nice area of supply there. Pause, strong drop. If we can revisit that around 18.2, I think that's a nice place for a sell. And yeah, I think we'll keep falling. And then Aussie CHF, pair which I'm still pretty bullish on. I think we're likely to keep pushing to the upside here. Again, I'm looking for a push back into this zone here. This is where we consolidated and dropped quite heavily to the downside from. I do think price is likely to come back and revisit that. Again, a similar pair, a similar market to actually USDZAR and Eurozar, which of course is coming from new all-time lows. I do think price can come back and revisit that zone and test that area there too. It's been a bit of a slow market, but it looks like we're starting to form a bit of a bottom here. So I think in terms of entries, it would be nice to try and pluck some entries off the low. I am looking for something like this to happen for Aussie CHF. I think a safe trade for Aussie CHF would be waiting for highs here to break. If you can see price go and do that, that's a very strong sign from the buyers, because we're kind of breaking out of this consolidation and it shows momentum is back with the buyers. We're kind of respecting a prior low here. This is the low that gave us the high. So as long as price doesn't violate that swing, so it doesn't break through, I would stay bullish on Aussie Swiss. If we were to break through that, that would be a bearish signal. And yeah, I would expect us to keep falling, perhaps back to the all-time lows. So a break of that low, which is at 0.528 to 0.52815. There we go. If you do break through that low, that would be a very bearish signal. Of course, that hasn't happened as of yet, so I'm still very bullish. But yeah, a nice strong bullish signal would be a clearance of the highs there, strong break of that, and then some pullbacks to retest it. That would be a very nice opportunity on like a hourly or 30-minute chart maybe. I think also entries back at the low here will be good too, because you can get some stop losses right at the low, maximize your risk to reward, maximize the profitability of the setup, because you'll be entering at the lows here. You can probably hold a little bit longer too. So I still think buys look good there, but I think that's the safer bet, because at least you've got the break of structure, you've got the indication that buyers are entering and they're looking pretty strong. But yeah, in terms of the bigger move for dollar C, not dollar CHF, Aussie CHF, I do think is a likely chance we do come back into the zone there. Yeah, current structure I would say is bearish here, so watch out for that. Hence, the break to the upside gives you a bit more confidence. But I still like the buys here, there as well. I mean, I'm long New Zealand CHF at the moment, which of course is a very similar pair to Aussie CHF. They're both kind of linked, to be fair. Aussie, NZD, very similar currencies, of course. Both against the CHF too. So again, I think this is likely to rally. It has been pretty flat as well, so it hasn't been the best of conditions. But similar to Aussie CHF, we're coming from all-time lows. I just want to see this trend continue. So I position myself right at the lows here. Stop loss there. I have moved stop loss to break even since then though. But yeah, I do expect this to rally. Of course, we'll see what happens. I don't have a crystal ball though, so I don't know if it will rally. It could very much come and hit me at break even. But that's been my analysis for the trade. I expect Aussie CHF to do the same as well. I'm also been looking for strong Aussie and a strong NZD too. It hasn't really come into the markets yet. Haven't really seen that Aussie strength or that NZD strength really come into the market. So it's been leaving me high and dry for now, but I do think we can catch up and see that strength soon. And hopefully some opportunities off the back of that. But yeah, that's kind of where I'm at for now. By the way, guys, if you are enjoying the content, please be sure to drop a like and subscribe to the channel. It does really help out. I do really appreciate each and every one of you who has, of course, liked the stream, subscribe to the channel. It does really help out. Thank you so much to everyone who's done that. If you haven't done so already, please do me a favor. Go ahead to the bottom of the video of the stream, hit the like button, subscribe, and of course hit the bell too so you don't miss out on any streams or uploads in the future. But it does really help out the channel, and I do really appreciate that, guys. Open Meepo, is it possible to sell gold now at this current price? Let us go and have a look. Yes, I would say it's a nice price to be selling, but I wouldn't say there's an entry signal or entry confirmation to back up why we should sell. Because right now, the market's looking pretty bullish on that hourly candle, so I wouldn't be looking to short that at all. I would wait for price to reject that level, then yeah, I would agree. It's a nice price to be shorting from, but there's no indication of the market shorting. Again, some people like to have limit orders and just set and forget, have a mark out a level, put a limit there, and then go about their day. I always use market execution. I'm always looking at candlesticks to back up my entry levels. At the very least, I want to see some wicks at the zone. More so, I want to see engulfing candles. I want to see momentum in my direction from my levels. That really gives me the confidence that, okay, price is respecting this level. We're likely to push away. So, yes, a good price to be looking to short from. Coming back into support there. But there is no indication. For all we know, price could rally through that and break to the upside. So, I would not short it now. But, yes, I do agree. It's a nice place to be shorting. Basically, just looking for the continuation of those lower highs. We've got this trend I've marked out. 1, 2, 3. Could be looking at a fourth for a push down. But yeah, need price to slow down, start to show more signs of rejection before we do hop into anything. Because we could be looking to break the level for all we know. How's silver doing? Yeah, mixed bag. Still in the consolidation, so I'm not really too bothered with silver, to be honest. So just seeing how momentum is doing. But the big one for me is still USD weakness. I think USD is still likely to fall. I think the other USD pairs are still likely to rally. Euro USD is the only one that's a little bit awkward, but again, I'm still pretty bullish on this one too. So I think there is still a strong case that Euro USD does rally, and perhaps we have just broken through some structure to the left to maybe grab some liquidity, fake out a low, before we do continue. Look at this from a bearish standpoint. Yeah, we could just be seeing that happen there. So yeah, Euro USD to me, I still would expect more downside, more upside. Sorry, back to the high there, 1.155, and us to continue. But I think pound USD just looks like the clear opportunity. Just a simple break and retest makes a load of sense there. Nothing too complicated about pound. And again, because pound and euro are very similar opportunities, very similar pairs, might as well just trade the one that looks clearer. But I do think this is likely to rally as well. Raheel Euro Yen. Okay, let's have a look. So Euro Yen, bullish on this one as well. I think Euro Yen is probably my least favorite yen pair, along with Swiss Yen, in terms of just the clarity of the price action, how everything looks right now. But I do think we're still likely to push back to 165. So we did respect the low here very well last week. Big piercing wick through the zone. Of course, this is the swing high we saw from that. Of course, price had the pullback into the zone, wicked through, respected it. And now since then, we've seen a bit of bullish structure. So I do think we're just going to continue with that back to highs. In terms of a setup to find an entry, 163 here looks the most attractive opportunity here. Really, I'm not a big fan of how price is moving now. It's very corrective here, lacking momentum. So this is a bit of a red flag. It means probably Euro Yen is tiring. Perhaps we do go through a bit of a flush to the downside. But I do think the bigger move is still going to give us a push to 165. And we do have this zone here, which we haven't really come back for a retest yet. If we can make that happen, I think that's a likely level for a higher low. And then we can probably see the continuation to the highs. So yeah, Euro Yen, I think there's a bit of downside left for this one. But I'm only looking at that in terms of retracement. I do expect us to push back to 165, at the very least back to the swing high. So if you do find a nice buying opportunity there, I think at the very least, if you can target the prior high 164.1, then you're looking at a decent trade. But because I just do expect this trend to continue, we have broken structure just about on the daily chart. I do think we can see a bit of a push to the upside, back to the highs here. That's kind of the bigger move I'm interested in for Euro Yen. But yeah, the price action has been very flat as a whole. You can argue that the pair's been range bound, but I do think we're likely to keep pushing. Just going to keep a close eye on the yen basket because again, this needs to keep falling if the yen pairs are going to keep rising. We have since broken through that support. It's now acting as resistance. Perhaps we use that to our advantage to keep falling there. I think the key thing with the yen basket again is that we are respecting this kind of head and shoulder pattern. I'm seeing a lot of these head and shoulder patterns in the market at the moment. Left head, right shoulder, respect that very well. That's given us a nice drop there. I do think that can take us back into support. This is the first target. We smashed into that. Can we keep going? I do think we can. But I must admit the price action isn't brilliant. It's not seeing a clear-cut trend, I must say, or seeing tremendous momentum. It's very, very choppy. GJ, on the other hand, we've already hit a big level, so I think this one's a bit more difficult to see continuation, at least from a trading perspective, because you don't want to be buying into the level. But I do think we can still push higher. So yen pairs as a whole, I do think there's more upside to them. But ideally, kind of want to already be in a position because we've already pushed away. But pairs like dollar yen, I like the shorts. Still respecting that level. Another head and shoulder pattern there. If you can respect it well, I do think we can have a bit of a drop. But yeah, going into the final 2 days of the week. Currently only in one position, just going to manage that. I'm break even now, so there's nothing really for me to do until we start to hit my levels. In terms of opportunities, I think dollar CAD looks the best for me right now, so I'm going to keep a very close eye on dollar CAD shorts. In terms of risk reward, in terms of the setup, I really like it. So USD CAD shorts is something I'll keep a close eye on. I'll let you guys know if I do get into any other positions. But guys, we have come up to the end of the stream. I will be live again later today though, so keep that in mind if you do want to see more of me. We do have I do have a stream with Trader Nick on his channel, which is at 1:45 p.m. UK time, so about an hour and 45 minutes from now. If you're free, pop into his channel, come say hi. If not, I will be live again on my channel, this channel, tomorrow, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. UK time, same time as always. So if you are interested, make sure you're there, come say hi. But guys, really appreciate you tuning into another stream. Does mean a lot, of course, because you guys do make the stream. Without you guys, just me talking to myself. So I do really appreciate you tuning in and spending some time with me. If you have enjoyed the stream, drop a like, subscribe to the channel. It does really help out. Check out the Discord link to Elevating Traders. The Discord link's in the description. You can also find it at the top of the chat. You can join the community, chat with other traders, chat with myself, and just join a community of traders that are looking to learn and grow. If that is something you're interested in, go check it out. It's completely free to join. But I really appreciate it, guys. Have a great day, and I'll catch you all in the next one.